What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Coke TV. Today we're going to be talking about chatterbaits. So I had a couple people request to do a video about chatterbaits, so I'm going to go show you how to fish these guys and what kind of setup I use, what I look for when I'm fishing them, and tips on top of that. So let's get right into it. So I want to start off by showing you my setup. Right now I have a Cronarch 150 on it. This is the rod I use. It's a Cousins tackle IM8. It's a 7.3 medium heavy fast action. I just put this on because I was flipping in the yard yesterday, but I'm gonna have this paired up with a Concept A and a 6.6 to 1 gear ratio. I really like the tip on this rod. I'm gonna throw medium heavy because I'm gonna be fishing chatterbaits around a lot of cover and riprap. So when you come up to a pond or a lake, you want to take in, you want to find out as much information as you can about that lake or pond. One, what's the water clarity? Is it stained? Is it clear? Or is it in between? What kind of grass is in the lake, if there's any grass at all? Any trees, stumps, or brush piles around the lake that you need to know about? If you're on a lake, is there any boat docks? And is the bottom all sand, or is there rocks and bunch of riprap? That's all information you want to find out, because those are key things you want to look for when you're throwing a chatterbait. So let me show you the kind of chatterbait that I'm using here. This is a Menace Jig chatterbait. These are brand new, not released to the public yet. I'm on their pro staff team, so we were the first ones to get our hands on them, and these things are just beautiful. So what I really want to point out, if you don't know what the Menace Jig is, Menace Baits is a company that has a unique free swinging head on an EWG hook that gives your trailer that you put on this hook an insane amount of action. That free swinging hook allows that bait to go wherever it wants, and it just has a lot more natural swimming action than staying uniform with the whole bait. They have an original Menace Jig, which is just like this. It's a jig head with the free swinging hook. Their swim jig is the same thing too. The football design head swims great through the water column and extremely straight. And now they came out with the chatterbait, which is the blade on that head, and it's still got that sweet free swinging hook. What's really cool about this bait compared to other chatterbaits is other chatterbaits can have a big weed guard sticking up, and instead of having that weed guard, now you can just text pose your favorite trailer on there, and you don't have to worry about a weed guard. You're just gonna have a text pose hook, and you won't have to worry about getting hung up. So chatterbaits are meant to obviously imitate bait fish. There's a lot of things that go into a chatterbait. You got the blade, which it gives off a lot of flash, a ton of vibration, which fish can pick up from a long ways away and come in and follow that bait up. And it's got the skirt like a jig, spinner bait, swim jig that flares it up a bit and makes it look like a bigger presentation and a bait fish. And it's just a really unique lure, and it's one of my favorite things to throw towards the end of spring and all throughout summer. It's just a great bait to throw. So I want to talk to you about colors real quick. I own 3 colors technically, other than different variations of green pumpkin. These are the only colors I throw. So with 30 water, you're going to want to throw something like chartreuse and white, black and blue, and you can still get away with the darker green pumpkin, obviously. In that clearish water, you're gonna be able to throw this chartreuse and white. Sometimes I'll just go to white, depending on how clear the water is. And then green pumpkin you can throw in any clarity of water. It's just a natural color, great color for any presentation pretty much. The amount of places you're gonna be able to throw the chatterbaits or vibrating jigs, whatever you wanna classify them as, this is a great reaction bait. You can throw these in places that you can't throw a majority of other reaction baits, and they're just overall phenomenal baits to use. So I'm going to go into the trailers that I use. I'm going to make a whole separate video on trailers and presentations and all that, but right now I'm going to go over what my favorite trailer is for a chatterbait. So my favorite trailer to throw on a chatterbait is a Kitech Fat Swing Impact, or Swing Impact Fat. So you can just rig it normally, but a trick I learned from Tactical Bassin is that if you take this and instead of rigging it straight like a normal swim bait with the tail down, you can rig it upside down like this, text pose it like that, and now you notice that the tail's upside down, it's sticking straight up. And what that does with a vibrating jig or chatterbait, whatever you want to classify it as, is like this. It's going to have a certain speed and wobble with the blade when you're reeling it through the water, and that skirt is also going to be, you know, moving at the same speed and same pace that the blade is. And paddle tail swim baits like Kitex are designed to go at slow speeds and kick. So when this is moving fast, this swim bait isn't necessarily moving uniform with this. And when you flip that upside down, there's a different resistance on the tail, and that different resistance causes the bait to move more uniform with the whole bait. And it actually has a little bit better of an action that can trigger a lot of bites on a really tough day. So there's one hack you can do with the bait. And then the second thing you can do with it is, if your chatterbait's like this, you know, straight across, you can take your blade, grab it with pliers, and bend the end back towards that way. Just the end though. You don't want to bend halfway down the blade. You just want to do maybe like this top part of it right here. And what that does is, it doesn't necessarily make the chatterbait dive deeper, but it stays in the place that you want it to. It fishes the part of the water column that you want it to. If you want to throw it and let it sink 5 feet, that bend in the blade is going to keep it at 5 feet the whole time. Instead of being straight, eventually it's going to rise up, and it's not going to be that targeted zone that you want it to stay in. So that's another tip you can use to help you get more fish and more bites. But that's pretty much it for this video on the chatterbait. If you guys have any more questions or want any more tips, comment down below. I'm probably going to make another on the water video with chatterbaits, sharing new info with you and stuff that I find out, and have some fish catches to go along with it. But I hope this video helped you guys out. If you have any questions, comment in the section below. Comment in the comment section down below, and I'll get back to you ASAP. But I'll see you guys next time. Peace.